Hello guys, it is actually Saturday and I've just finished parkrun. Now the plan for today was to walk parkrun because obviously I've got the half marathon tomorrow and I didn't want to overdo it during the marathon and I didn't want to knacker myself out, but I wanted to do something today just to keep me loose and limber. And I'm going to be resting for the rest of the day, so I thought, you know what, parkrun, but walking parkrun would be a nice way to do it, so I did. And I also got in touch with my friend Nicola, who I actually just released a video about yesterday, which was my week 37.2 video, saying how she was my biggest inspiration. She's such an amazing person. And I sent the video to her because it was the first time she'd actually been featured in any of my videos, and she really enjoyed it. And I know she's been really struggling recently. I think since just before Christmas, she had a bit of hiatus from parkrun and she's been struggling to get back into it and comparing herself to her previous self and things like this. And it's something that we all do, something that I'm guilty of as well, is comparing yourself to what you used to be able to do compared to what you're capable of now. Like what I could do this time last year compared to what I can do now is drastically different. Like I was doing 10 press-ups on my knees around this time last year, or at least 5 press-ups on my knees around this time last year. Now I can barely do 1. And it's okay. It's okay because, you know, when you stop exercising, you do lose progress quickly. But anyway, like I said, I sent her the video for her to watch and she watched it, she enjoyed it, and it gave her the motivation. Oh, sorry, no, I mentioned that I was coming parkrun today to walk it because I've got the half marathon tomorrow, and so she said she would love to come and walk it with me and try and get her motivation up. And we had a really lovely catch up and natter on the way round, and we were doing a lot of chatting and talking. At one point she started jogging and I was like, okay, I thought we were just walking, but fine. So let her jog ahead and I just walked and caught up to her when she started walking again. She said she was surprised because that was the first time in a long time where she's actually wanted to run. It's the first time where her body's gone, I feel like running now. And I was saying I had the same scenario about this time last year, when I was in the habit of doing my mobility training and I was really not in the mood to do any exercise, but my body wanted to exercise. My body was urging me to exercise. And she had that same sensation today where her body was urging her to run. It's really weird how your body starts to truly enjoy and miss exercise when you do it to a certain level. So we did parkrun together, walking it all the way around. She was saying at the end how she really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was the first time in a long time she's actually truly enjoyed coming out. And that felt good. That felt really good because it was quite enjoyable for me as well, because I've not walked parkrun in a long time. I usually don't get that feeling of dread or stuff like that when it gets to parkrun. When it comes to parkrun, I really look forward to it because I know I'm going to see people I know I'm going to know the route. I know the route's going to be easy. I know exactly what markers I can count for. I know I can do my lamppost pacing if I need to. So I quite enjoy parkrun. Parkrun has always been something I enjoy because it's familiar and it's regular and it's routine. And the fact that she was able to come out and truly enjoy it was really nice and really special. And I'm a bit gutted because this is the first time I've been able to get to parkrun properly this year with everything that's been going on. But it was really nice to see my friend Nick again. It was actually quite nice. Even though we walked it, we still came in at like 56 minutes or just over 56 minutes, which is still pretty fast. That's still less than an hour, which also makes me annoyed because it means, like, when you consider I did 5k in 50 minutes, I don't really run that much faster than I walk. Oh dear, which is rather entertaining. And you know what? That's okay. It's still okay because it's still something. Like, even just getting out for a walk is good for you. And it is. Even just getting out for a walk is really good for you. Oh, anyway, I'm going to get going because I still need to do some shopping. And we are going to Jason's family's house this weekend, or today, should I say, to celebrate his family friends. I want to call her Auntie Barbie, but Auntie's the wrong word, but it's also the right word. It's really confusing. She's an old family friend, but she's so close to the family that she may as well be family. So as far as I'm concerned, she's Jason's Auntie Barbie, and it's her birthday today, so we are going to go celebrate her birthday this weekend. Then go home, relax, maybe do some gaming, maybe do some video editing, I don't know yet. And then tomorrow we've got the Media City half marathon. And just doing parkrun today, my ankles were tight and starting to hurt by the end of the 5k. So I genuinely don't know how I'm going to get on tomorrow, but hopefully we'll survive it. Hopefully we'll at least get to the finish line. Even if we don't do it in time, we'll hopefully at least get to the finish line. Well, I'm not happy, Bonnie. Not happy at all. It's still Saturday. It's Saturday evening. I'm meant to be doing a half marathon tomorrow. Meant to be. After a chat with Jason, he's recommended that I do not run for same issue as last time, fear of injury. We went for a meal with Jason's family, and after the park run, I was complaining that I was having a lot of pain in my ankles again. After the walk, I also have a sore on the bottom of both the balls of my feet where, for some reason, my socks decided to rub against my shoes, and I now have blisters forming on the balls of my feet. On top of that, after the meal with Jason's family, we went for a quick walk around the local park, and the entire walk, my heels were in agony and my ankles were in agony, and I was sore. And then we've come home, we've rested a bit, and then I've got up to try and walk around, and I've nearly fell over because my ankle gave way underneath me. I'm not even joking. I wish I was. I wish I was joking. My ankle nearly gave way underneath me, causing me to sit back down on the bed, and I had to wait a couple of minutes and warm my ankle up in order to actually stand up. And even now, standing up, I'm having to lean over because it's painful. It's really painful. My heels are sore. The balls of my feet are sore from whatever caused them to rub, and my ankles are killing me. And so me and Jason had a chat, and we agreed that, much to my not happiness, it's probably not a good idea that I go running tomorrow. And after looking at it, we believe it's actually something to do with my body in general. Whether or not it's my weight and the sheer force that's going through my legs to my feet causing the problems, because obviously I've never ran at this weight before, and I have been running at this weight for the last 6 months or so, and I've been having these problems for the last 6 months or so, partially when I stopped doing my mobility training, but also when I started gaining weight over the 105 kilogram marker. But we can't confirm that it is definitely down to weight. And we can't confirm that it's definitely down to mobility training. There is just something about running long distances that my ankles are not liking right now. And I'm annoyed. I'm really annoyed, because this is exactly what happened last year when I went to run the half marathon last year. Literally the exact same thing happened, where I fell over the week beforehand, and then I had issues with my ankles all the way running up to the day, and then the day before I had to drop out for fear that I was going to injure myself because of the pain in my ankles. Granted, last time I actually had Achilles tendonitis. This time I don't believe I've got Achilles tendonitis, but something isn't quite right. And Jason doesn't want me to push it, and I'm also afraid that if I do try and run tomorrow, that I am going to end up injuring myself. So we've made the decision that I'm not going to run tomorrow in the half marathon, and I'm angry about that. I am fuming about that, because half marathons are not cheap to book in for. They are not cheap to book in for at all. Now, the problem is, if I'm not able to run the half marathon tomorrow because of ankle issues and joint issues, I'm probably not going to be able to run the marathon either. And that really wasn't cheap to book in for. I think the marathon cost us 70, 80 quid each to book in for, the Manchester Marathon. And the fact that I'm going to potentially have to drop out now is infuriating. I did try and go online and see if I could defer it to next year instead, and I missed the deadline by 2 days. I literally missed the deadline by days. If I had made the decision a couple of days ago that I was going to defer it to next year and try and put a little bit more effort into my training these next few months, I would have been fine. But I haven't. I made the decision just a couple of days too late, so I've now lost the money. I can't defer it to another person. I can't defer it to next year. I've just lost the money. And I'm angry and I'm annoyed, because I really, really wanted to try and run a marathon just so I could cross it off the bucket list and get it out the way. Well, that leaves the question, what's the plan? What's the plan now? If I'm not physically capable of running the half marathon tomorrow, which I'm not, realistically I'm not, my ankle's too painful, and I'm still struggling with 2-3k. Like, I'm really struggling with 1k. I'm struggling to not stop for 1k. And anything over the 5k marker is really difficult and really challenging. Even up to the 5k marker is really difficult and really challenging. And according to my runner app, which is the app that I use for my running training, I'm currently expected to finish a half marathon within 3 hours, 15 minutes, which is 15 minutes over the permitted finish time for tomorrow. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the cut-off time is 3 hours tomorrow. 3 hours is the cut-off time. So I'm not even going to make the cut-off time based on my recent runs. And my current estimated finish time for the marathon, based on my recent runs and based on the training I've got up until the marathon, is 6.5 hours. The cut-off time is 6 hours. So I'm not even going to be able to finish it. I'm not even going to make the cut-off time. I'm not even going to make it to the finish line in time based on that and based on the fact that I am really struggling right now. I am really struggling with the 2-3Ks. Let alone the 4-5Ks, let alone a half marathon. The plan instead is to start getting back into my calisthenics and my mobility and swimming and build myself back up from the foundations. Get my mobility back up, get my strength back up and get my calisthenics up. Still going to try running, but I'm going to reduce it to like 2-3K runs. So it's only about 20 minutes out of my day instead of these big 8-10K runs. And basically try and build myself back up to being able to run 5K without stopping. That's now my new goal, is to run 5K without stopping and then to run 10K without stopping. I'm going to get back into my mobility properly and I'm going to start going back to open water swimming and general swimming as well. Because there's a couple of other issues that has been affecting my decision about whether or not to run tomorrow or even to run the marathon in April. One of it is my inflammatory arthritis. It's been playing up a lot recently, and I have been wondering whether or not I've got inflammatory arthritis in my ankles, and that could potentially be what's causing the issues that I'm having. So I do need to go get that checked to see whether or not that could actually be the cause of the pain in my ankles and how I can go about fixing that if it is. Another thing that puts me off doing the half marathon and the marathon is my bladder issues, because as I've discussed in previous videos, I had to go through a load of tests because they suspected that I had a urine infection and then kidney problems and all sorts because I had blood in my urine. And I still have blood in my urine. It's not visible, but I still have trace amounts of blood in my urine. And whether or not it's a contributing factor or not, I can't believe I'm actually about to admit this. I have no control over my bladder. I have very minimal control over my bladder. If my bladder decides it needs the toilet, it wants to go to the toilet there and then at that second. And it takes a lot for me to stop it. And once it's made that decision, I need to find a toilet within 10 minutes. If I don't find a toilet within 10 minutes, I am going to have an accident. On average, I can go to the toilet up to 3 times an hour. Every hour. If I'm lucky, I go to the toilet once an hour. For a run like a half marathon that is 3 hours long, or for a run like a marathon where I'm predicted to finish around the 6 hours marker, I'm not going to have access to those toilets. I'm not going to have access to those toilets at all. And if my bladder decides to be on one and decides it needs to go to the toilet 3 times every hour that day, there's no way I'm going to be able to physically stop myself. There's no way I'm going to be able to get to a toilet in time mid-run or mid-race. And I'll be honest, that's one of the factors that's making me decide to put a hold on this running training or this long distance running training. And to be honest, after my chat with Jason, it is a possibility that my body's just not designed to run, which I know it's not because I'm flat-footed. I'm a much better swimmer. I'm a much better and stronger swimmer than I am a runner, without a doubt. And he suggested maybe that's the answer. Maybe I should go back to swimming. Maybe I should go back to mobility, back to calisthenics, back to aerial acrobatics, back to the things that I am already good at, back to the things that I know does not harm my body, back to the things that does not cause me regular injury, back to building up my foundations so that I can run without all these injuries and without all these problems. And it's a hard thing to acknowledge that something I've been training for so long, something I've been trying to put my whole heart and soul into, feels like it was for nothing again. Literally again. I've let things get in the way again. I've let things get delayed in my training again. I've let things stop me from my training again. And at the same time, my training has ramped up too quickly for my body to keep up with. I'm heartbroken. I'm literally heartbroken because for the first time in my life, I genuinely thought I could run a marathon. I genuinely thought I would be able to do it. I genuinely thought I would get the training in to be able to do it. And instead I'm having to back out because my body just cannot handle the distances. My ankles specifically cannot handle the distances, whether or not it's my, like I said, inflammatory arthritis, or whether or not it's just the muscles cannot cope with my weight, or whether or not it's just too much with the 10K that I already walk every day with my dogs. I don't know. I just don't know. But one thing we have agreed on is I do need to go back to basics. I need to go back to swimming, which is something I've always been good at and something I can get back into easily. Get back into mobility training, build up the strength in my ankles and my hips, and get back into calisthenics or aerial acrobatics and build up that foundational strength again. And then once my foundational strength is back up, then look at coming back into running, and then look at starting to go back towards my 5k. And like I said, I still want to run. I'm still probably going to do park run every week and just see how I get on. If I have to walk park run every week, so be it, I'll walk it. I'll start right back at the beginning with my friend Nicola, because she's had a bit of a hiatus. That's put her back. So if I need to start back at where she is and build up with her, I'll do it. We'll build up together. I'm just so upset and annoyed. I'm so upset and annoyed that I'm having to back out of another 2 races because my body is just not coping. I really wanted to be that person that proved people wrong. I really wanted to be that person where everyone says, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. I was like, I will prove you wrong. I really want to be that person, because I am. Usually I am that person. My body's telling me I just can't right now. So like I said, I'm going to change my training plan. I'm going to start working myself back up to being able to run 5k without stopping. I'm going to get back into my mobility, and I'm going to get back to swimming. I'm going to build up my foundational strength through calisthenics again. I don't really know what system I'm going to have in place yet to do that. I need to work out the logistics of it, and I need to work out a schedule for it. I know I can easily go swimming most mornings, and I can go open water swimming every weekend. And I know I can do mobility and calisthenics most nights because it's all at home. So I think for the rest of the day, I'm going to have a gaming day with Jason. Jason is still running the half marathon and the marathon. He's actually due to come in around 2 hours for the half marathon and 4 hours for the full marathon. So I'm going to go support him tomorrow. He suggested that I go and do open water swimming while he's doing the run. Basically see him off at the start line, cheer him on a bit, go for a quick swim in the outdoor water session, and then go back and catch up with him at the finish line, and then drive him home because he'll be dead by that point. And we're going to do something similar with the marathon, where I see him off near the start and potentially pick him up at the finish line before heading home or heading back to where he works. I'm just so gutted, so freaking annoyed with myself that I've let it get to this point again. I really need to work on the foundations. And if anything, this is actually why the foundations are so important. This is why knowing your level, and knowing what level you are able to do, and knowing what level you are at, and not pushing yourself through the harder levels just because that's part of your training plan or that's what you need to do. Listen to your body. Don't do what I've done and push through it. Don't do what I've done where my body's been crying and aching and cramping, just pushing through it, because it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you anywhere. It gets you annoyed and heartbroken at yourself for pushing yourself too much.